Hello everybody. In this video I want to do a quick demonstration of how to build like a contingency table, looking at, we can do both things like gender, where we have like categorical data, like true categorical data, or things that are like more ordinal that we kind of treat as interval data, like something like overall shopping experience satisfaction. Let's go ahead and actually copy this variable here, overall shopping experience satisfaction. I'm just going to go ahead and click copy, and I'm going to open up a new sheet. In here, I'm going to do a right click and I will just paste in my data. And now I have my data pasted over from the data, and it gives me a little bit of bigger space to work with so that I can organize my thoughts a little bit more clearly. Okay, so in this data, if we look at so this is the data set that's in Blackboard that we've been using. If we open up the data dictionary that's there as well, we can see how overall shopping experience was measured. And inside of here, we can scroll all the way to the bottom and look at this last option of overall shopping experience. And we see that it goes from 1 to 5, from very satisfied to very dissatisfied. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to paste in here very dissatisfied. I want to paste this a couple of times just because I can't spell very well and this is fast. So I'm just going to update these to say satisfied, very satisfied. We'll make this one dissatisfied. Maybe this one put as like neutral. And we go from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, now my goal at this point in time is to not type in anything anymore. But I want to know how many people were very dissatisfied or how many were dissatisfied, etc. So I'm just going to call this my count column. There's a really handy function that I can use. I can use the function COUNTIF. Then it asks for what range or where do we want to look. So I'm going to say, well, use this range, count inside of this range, and I want to count the number 1 and see how many times it pops up. And here it says it pops up 11 times. And if you drag it all the way down, it populates these because it's referential and it's using just the cell to the left and looking at it in all of column A. We can then do a total here. Oops, sorry. We can do a total, or we can just simply do the sum of all of these counts to see how many were in this entire set. We can go scroll down to the bottom and it is in fact 60. Now if we want like a relative frequency, or the percentage of how many people were dissatisfied, we can just take simply the number who were very dissatisfied divided by the total. Now I'm going to use the button F4, oops, sorry. I'm going to use the button F4, and that is going to make it so that I lock that cell in place. The dollar signs lock cells in place. And I can hit enter, and I can drag this all the way down, and I can get my percentages. Now if I did it right, the sum of this column should equal 100%. And it does, a value of 1. If you want to change the number of decimal places that are being shown, you can just go over to Home, and you can play around with how many decimal places are being shown. Typically 4 is very good. So this is kind of how we do it manually. We can also do this really quickly using a pivot table. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this data, go to Insert, Pivot Table, and I'm going to say that I want it on this existing workbook. I'm just going to go ahead and click right here, select OK, and then it tells me that I need to do some things to get this to work. So I have the variable overall shopping experience, and I'm going to put it into the rows, and I'm also going to drag it down to the values. Now here sometimes it says sum. We really want the count. I don't want the sum. So I'm going to click on this guy, and I'm going to click on value field settings, and then I can go select count is what I want. I can click OK. Now sometimes it defaults to count, sometimes it doesn't. But now I can see that, hey, what I just did up here is exactly what happened down here. At this point in time, we can kind of highlight things and start making a table to help us out with, we can do both a pie chart and a bar chart. So I'm just going to highlight these labels, and I'm actually going to highlight my counts here. You could also do it from the pivot tables, but I'm going to do it from up here just because I like these labels a little bit better. And I'm going to go to Insert, and we are going to go click on this option in the top left. And the first one that I'm going to do is just a bar chart. Notice how I have a bar chart that highlights everything. And then let's do this exact same thing again, where we are going to highlight here and highlight our count. I use the button Control so that I can highlight both of them at the same time. Highlight the one, push Control, highlight the next. I'll go to Insert, and I'll go to just a pie chart, and I can click on pie. Now on these, you can also click like this little green value, or this plus sign, and add in data labels, and it helps you so that you can actually see the values as well. You can also, on data labels, you can get a lot more data labels. We can do like call out with like the percentages. There's all sorts of things that you can add in to help make those even better. Now, if instead you had just done it from the pivot table, if we just highlight the pivot table, we can also just go to Insert and a bar, and we can have that as well. So there are lots of options there, but those are the basic ideas of how can we use Excel to build a frequency table. And we can do it with these. Well, we can also do it with other values as well, such as, like if we were doing, let's say we'll do occupation type. Let's copy that. We want to come over here into a new sheet. Let's just go ahead and paste it. Since it's still selected, I'm just going to do Insert and a pivot table. Let's select the location nearby. I'll just do C. I'll do OK. Drag my occupation down to my rows and my values, and it has produced that. Again, highlight very quickly, Insert. Let's do a pie chart this time. Here we've got a pie chart with data labels, and let's do call out, and now I've got the percentages of them all. It's very handy to do, very quick, and that's kind of our basics. Anyways, I hope that helps you out with being able to start to do some of your own data analyses and see how you can do those visualizations.